Imagine enjoying the video games.
Imagine playing games for fun, dude. That'd be crazy. I play them to review them, I play them to plat them, I play them to hate them. That's my trifecta, dude.
We hate video games.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the HGO podcast. I'm one of your hosts today, Ethan. Joining me, as always, are my good friends Kyle.
Hello.
And Hunter. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing just swell.
It's good to be here. It's a weird one.
Always
right?
is, my dude.
It's always good to be. It's always a vibe to be here. It's always a vibe. It's weird though, because it's like we'll break the ice. But we none of us played Persona Tactica, dude. We failed our mission, guys. I just didn't have time. Hunter.
That was never my mission.
It was
Kyle's
Kyle's completed his.
Kyle
mission.
did his mission.
Ethan completely failed his mission. Hunter was like, I might potentially have a slim chance of playing it. That didn't occur either.
But
so we just failed. So we're only here to talk about Mario RPG this week, which is fine, because Mario RPG is obviously the bigger game in this scenario, because you've got, let's be honest, Persona Tactica has always been a bit of a weird one, but we'll cover it at some point in the future, I'm sure. I'll play it eventually. We'll get around to it.
It's on the list of things that I had for my family to get me for my birthday. So.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, like Mario RPG is also there. That's why I didn't get either of these. It's just because like, I'm going to be spending this next week. I'm not working, probably playing Baldur's Gate. So there's no reason to buy one of these when I can just get it for my birthday.
You see, I'm the same way, but that's not my Christmas thing. So it's like, I've got the 3 games I'm probably going to get for Christmas, ask for the Christmas, are Tactica for PS5, because even though I could very much play it for free on Xbox with Game Pass, because I have that, Ethan's gobbling goopy gamer brain is like, Persona is a PlayStation video game. It's just one of those things where it doesn't feel right. So I'll probably play that on PlayStation. Mario RPG, and the Red Dead remaster for PS4, because 60 FPS Red Dead sounds pretty good to me. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, maybe I won't get Mario RPG. Kyle's here to tell us if it's any good or not. I'd be shocked if they managed to fuck up a beloved RPG, but we'll find out this week, I guess.
It's pretty freaking good.
And in the meantime, we'll also be talking about... We have played some games this week. Hunter will be talking about a bunch of indie games that he's been playing recently. And I will be talking about Mirror's Edge, like I've done, I feel like, way too many times on this podcast, because I managed to deep dive into that again. So we'll talk about that a little bit as well. But yeah, if you're new here, this is the HGO podcast. We're here every Monday at around 5 p.m. UK time, 12 Eastern, on podcast services everywhere, and at youtube.com/hotgamersonly. We've got an Alan Wake 2 review coming out very, very soon. This week, Hunter?
Yeah, like, I'll have time to have this up by the day after that this comes out, or sometime.
Cool, it'll be out this week. So look forward to that on the website and at youtube.com/hotgamersonly. Yeah, that's probably the last big review that we're doing this year.
I might make one more, but
oh god, don't. Oh god, don't, as if I'm like, don't do it. Hurts. No, we might have a couple of things here.
No, we've done too many this year.
And then there'll still be stuff on the website and stuff like that coming up. So, there'll still be stuff trickling in, and I'm sure there'll be some extra stuff happening on everywhere else. So make sure you're following on all the socials and at YouTube and stuff like that. Thank you for the support on all the stuff and all the reviews and stuff that have been coming out in the past month or so. It's been very crazy, but I feel like it's been worth it. So thank you, everyone, for checking all that stuff out. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, you did good work on all those, my dude.
Thank you. I lost a lot of sleep, and it took way too long. And but I like it. Like I say, the way my brain works is I have to hyper focus on things. So having to write like 4 reviews in the span of 5 weeks, I just had to kind of lock in and get it done. So it worked out for the best, I think. Ask me again in a year though what I think of those reviews, and we'll see. We'll see. Time will tell. I'm already looking at some reviews I did this year. And I'm like, would I put Horizon at a 4 still? I don't know. We'll see.
But no, Horizon.
This is not the time to talk about this, Hunter. This is not the time. Anyway, and the next
number
scores
are arbitrary. Who cares?
Yeah, it's true. But in the
We
next
do
couple of
it
weeks,
for
obviously,
clicks.
we've got Game Awards stuff coming up. We've got our own Game Awards coming out. We've got all sorts of stuff happening. So make sure you subscribed or following on your favorite platform of choice. Thank you very much. We're just going to hop straight into it this week. It's probably going to be a shorter episode because one, we spent a lot of time planning the next couple of months of this podcast, so we're starting the recording late. And two, it was my birthday this past week, so I've been out last night and the entirety of today. So my voice is fucked to hell and back. So thankfully, I don't have to do too much talking this week. But we better get a move on. So Kyle, you have been playing the Super Mario RPG remake, remaster, thingy majig.
I'd call it
It's
a
one of those
remake.
halfway. It's one of those halfway houses where it's like I want to retire both the I want remaster and remake. We just need to fucking bin these because it's like
Just call it a redo.
we need a third word, right? Because in my head, a remaster is the same fucking game, but you've up-resed it a tiny bit and changed a couple of the textures. And a remake,
See The Last of Us.
yeah, and a remake is kind of rebuilding a game from the
The
ground up.
assets have been overhauled, like
Yeah, it's the same.
entirely.
In my head, a remake is the same fucking game, but they've just built it from the ground up. They haven't just plastered something over the original game. They've had to rebuild it. And then you've got the remakes that are like Resident Evil 4 and stuff like that. That are like reimaginings where stuff has changed. We need a fucking third term to distinguish between the true remake and we're doing something different remake, but it's still in the spirit. We need a
I think
differentiator.
reimagining would probably be the best word, but
Or
People won't like it.
that's not good enough for colloquialism, unfortunately.
But regardless, this is like a remake, right, Kyle? This is like
Yeah.
we are doing a one-to-one re-release of this, but we're rebuilding it from the ground up. Did they ever say who made this remake, by the way? Like, I feel like they never mentioned it.
It was a
'cause
mystery, wasn't it?
It's
I
not
think
Square.
I thought I. No, never mind. Then I don't know.
Like, there was no one in the. I heard. What did the splash screen say? Like, before the game starts up?
I have no idea,
Like,
dude.
they give you logos at the beginning of these.
They sure did.
Do they?
I
A lot of
wasn't
Nintendo
looking.
games don't do that. A lot of Nintendo games
I
don't do
wasn't
that.
looking.
It's
don't
been
know,
revealed.
dude.
Hang on, I'm doing a bit of. It's apparently Art Piazza.
I just
They
consumed
made
the
they made
product.
Dragon Quest games on Nintendo handhelds. Is what they're known for.
Hmm.
What I will say is, fair play to them. They have done a better job at outsourcing this game than they have done outsourcing some other games that they have made recent times. Looking at you, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl. You know, I feel like visually this game's quite pleasing. So tell me about it, Kyle. For those people who are unaware, like myself, really, because for those of you who don't know, this little game called Mario RPG never came out in Europe. So for those who are
that sucks for
unaware,
Europe.
yeah, for those who are unaware, what is Mario RPG?
So this was back in the Super Nintendo days. This was basically a collaboration between Nintendo and Square at the time, where they just worked together to put Mario into a turn-based RPG game. You know, kind of just break away from the platforming stuff. It's still like platforming in the overworld, like kind of isometric point of view, but yeah, it was just simple simple like first draft of a Mario RPG, which would later go on to inspire things like Paper Mario and the Mario and Luigi series.
And I think it's really interesting because it is one of those games where it's like Europe never got this one, and it's it's a very
Europe
interesting.
didn't get a lot of RPGs on the SNES.
Well, we didn't get a lot of RPGs. Period. Our first Final
Yeah.
Fantasy was Final Fantasy VII, so it's like we didn't get a lot of stuff.
Yes.
So it's an interesting one because I feel like if you grew up in the UK like I did, UK was never particularly heavily Nintendo regardless, especially when I was growing up. The PlayStation was massive in the UK, so it was never as big. But when you're someone that's my age, right? You're in your 20s and you grew up watching YouTube videos and you saw like retro video game reviews from certain people and stuff like that. You'd hear about Mario RPG, but none of us ever fucking played it because the first time it came out was like Virtual Console on the Wii or something.
Mm.
And a lot of people, unless you were really into that stuff, weren't really buying that much stuff on it unless you grew up with it. So it's a very interesting one where I feel like a lot of people don't really know much about Mario RPG. I don't. It's like, it's this weird game where I'm like, oh, it's that one time that Nintendo and Square worked on this thing, and then they had the big falling out in the next generation. So it's a very weird game, but I'm glad they're
It's
re-releasing it.
funny because like this game came out very late SNES too, so like
Hmm.
it was one of the last things that they were like nice about before Square was like, haha, screw you.
It's interesting, right? Because it's like you go back to that history, and it was like a, as soon as the N64 PS1 stuff came out, and it's like Square did have that shift away from Nintendo over to PlayStation for a long period of time. They
Hmm.
obviously still release stuff for handhelds, but in terms of main console, it really did drag over. So it's always been Mario RPG has always been in this interesting place of kind of not having a home. It's always kind of been a bit homeless, where it's like Square still owns some of the rights to the characters and stuff like that, and Nintendo technically have the publishing rights and stuff for the game, so they could re-release it on like,
On
under the
virtual
classics,
consoles.
under Virtual
Yeah.
Console, but they couldn't do anything else with it really. It was like it's like
Right.
Yeah.
it was in a state of limbo basically. Um, so
It's
it's
like
nice that they've
how
been able to work that kind of stuff out to at least remake it and re-release it on modern
yeah.
platforms. So that's pretty
Mm.
cool. Um, how are you finding it as a remake? Obviously, it's a very pretty game from what we've seen from trailers and stuff like that. Mario does look
I saw a
very
screenshot
adorable.
where the reflections on the floor of the particular room that Mario was in were like the best reflections you've ever seen in your life.
Dude, there was one time I was like walking out of a room and I thought that I saw something shiny out of the corner of my eye. So I went back into the room and I'm like, oh no, that was just the floor. That
Yeah,
was the
yeah, like
floor that was shiny.
who needs a PS5 for ray tracing and stuff when you got reflections like that?
Ugh,
It's a very good looking game though, and I
it
mean,
is.
I feel like we're at this weird point with the Switch now. It's the end of the life of the Switch. Well, Nintendo won't let the fucker die, but it's like we're at the end of the kind of cycle. And it's always interesting when you get games like this, where it's like I put certain games like this and Xenoblade and Luigi's Mansion in this kind of special category where you're like, oh no, good looking games can be released on Nintendo Switch if people put the effort in. And then you get, I mean, Mario Wonder is also a great looking game, right?
Yeah.
But then you still get your ugly ass fucking Pokemon games and stuff like that when you like it baffles me that they all come under the same fucking publisher where it's like you can have such a varying degree of quality. It's like it's bizarre to me. But luckily this one's pretty good looking. How are you feeling on it, Kyle? You feeling pretty good?
I am in love with this game.
Is it
Yeah,
as good as
I'm
you
playing
remember?
through it and
Shocked.
I feel like I am just a little kid again playing the original SNES version on the Wii's Virtual Console. 'Cause that's the version I grew up playing. I absolutely loved the original. I played the shit out of it. I know this game front to back. It's just it's so fun. It's also just such a simple RPG, and having come off of Baldur's Gate recently, it's a really nice change of pace,
The
Yeah.
two ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
honestly.
I think
The only simpler you get is Pokemon.
Pretty much.
we always clown on like Nintendo for, you know, being Nintendo, but it's like when they do stuff like this, I think they do it a lot better than a lot of other companies do when you compare it to like Sony or Microsoft, where it's like they do on occasion they've done a great job with Pokemon, whether you like the remakes and stuff or not, but bringing games back, remaking games, bringing them to a new platforms, bringing them onto a virtual console. I think they've
Yeah.
done this kind of job where it's like they treat their older games. Sometimes they don't treat them with respect because we've seen what Nintendo can do, but for the most part, they try and treat them with respect. Where it's like, man, I'd wish Sony would do this with some of their old stuff, or Microsoft would do stuff with their old stuff, where it's like you get like a rare replay or something. Then once in a blue moon, here's a fucking
Yeah.
free throw for you. But then when you look at like
Mm.
what Sony's doing right now, it's like, hey guys, your PlayStation Classics lineup, you get Parappa 2, and
Every
here's
siphon
another
filter.
PSP game. See you next month. And it's like, damn, I wish Sony would treat their games with more respect, like Nintendo does sometimes when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah.
It's also
Because it
fun for a
is.
game like Mario RPG that was from the mid 90s
Hmm.
to see. It's because this game hasn't been touched or looked at in 20 plus
Yeah.
years at this point. So it's fun to see like how the graphics have evolved, and you can look at things that you couldn't even tell what they were back on the Super Nintendo, seeing them in high definition now, being like, "Oh, that's what that thing is supposed to be."
Yeah. It's I really I do like this kind of stuff. It's like with it reminds me a lot of Link's Awakening. Like I
That's
remember
the
seeing the remake
visual
of Link's
vibe I got from
Awakening.
seeing
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
trailer. I was like, oh, they look kind of like toys in this game too. The same way that Link looks like a little toy diorama in Link's Awakening.
Diorama, that was the word I was thinking of earlier. It's not isometric. Thank you, Hunter.
Yeah, I got you.
But yeah, it's a very pretty game. I like the look of it a lot, and I mean it's a faithful remake, dude. Like this game's already beloved. You're gonna like it. I assume that you're gonna like it. If you like Mario RPG, it's not gonna be
Oh yeah.
like it's not gonna be like other remakes. Like we've had a lot of remakes in the past, and especially over the past couple of years. I feel like we had this wave of a couple of good ones from like Nintendo was doing a couple of good remakes where it was like they were doing Samus Returns, and then you had like Crash NST, which regardless of how I think about it, there was a bit of money that went into it. Spyro Reignited. You had these high quality ones, and then over the past couple of years, I feel like we've had stuff like we've had Klonoa or we've had other stuff, and it's just kind of been people have been like, oh, this remake stuff works, and then they just put like no money into it, and everything's just a bit cheap and shit. So it's a bit
Yeah,
nice to have like another remake that feels like they've put the money into it, and they've actually Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, great example of fucking just chucking shit on the going into the Unity
it
store
was
and
made
going
more out of
asset,
obligation than
please.
it was any desire
A
to.
want, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's nice seeing
But
like,
that's why they outsourced it.
yeah, but it's nice seeing them again outsourcing something like this.
Mm,
And from the little bit that we've seen of Paper Mario as well, the remake that's coming next year, it's just nice seeing them put some like effort into these. It's nice. They could have very easily have cheapered out on them and released a bit of a shit show, but they haven't, and that's pretty
mm.
cool. Um, have they made any tweaks to the gameplay in any shape at all, Kyle?
any quality
Yes.
of life.
Yes.
Yay.
So in combat, um, this game runs on timed action button presses,
Hmm.
and in the original, you just kind of had to figure it out, just play around and see, figure out the timing on your own.
Yeah,
But for this remake, they whenever you equip a new weapon or anything, get a new skill or anything like that, the first few times you use it, they'll have this little exclamation mark will appear over your character to tell you this is when you hit the button or this is what you're supposed to do. But then as you do the action command more and more, it will eventually just go away, and the game's like, okay, you don't need this anymore. But then if you start screwing up the timing again, they'll be like, okay, here's the exclamation point just as a reminder. This is where you're
yeah,
supposed to hit the button. And it's just a nice little tool for beginners, people who didn't play the original.
that's
It's
cool.
an
I
interesting
like it a
level
lot.
of adaptive
Yeah.
tutorialization in a sense
Hmm.
that I don't really think I've heard of being used like that before. That's neat.
I've seen
And then,
it's like it's a more intuitive way of the kind of you keep fucking up. Here's a tool tip that shows up where it's like
Yeah.
I've played it before. The amount of times I've played Overwatch keeps turning the fucking tool tips back on, and
oh
then I
yeah.
die to a tracer, and it's like try not dying next time. I'm like fucking don't need this. Like
Have you tried healing when your health gets
yeah,
low?
literally it'll be like tracer's recall lets you restore your health from how many
You're
seconds ago.
on
I'm like
fire,
thanks for that.
Kratos. It will
Thanks for that. I've got
pass.
like 70 hours on this one character. I really needed that tooltip. Thank you, Overwatch. Very cool. No, it's a lot more intuitive where it's like, hey, this is the time again.
Mm.
Give it a try.
But
I
then
remember seeing
also,
a save point because obviously it's got autosave because it's a modern
yeah.
RPG. That made me feel old. I saw like a screenshot of someone being like, this is how the old people used to fucking save. You can still do it if you want. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, old.
I
That
still
was
use
fun.
the save blocks. I don't trust autosave.
Dude. This is what I think. I feel like the next Persona, I don't know if Reload will have it, but I feel like Persona 6 will have an autosave, and I can guarantee will not trust that fucker ever.
Mm,
Same with Xenoblade. Xenoblade 3 had an autosave.
it
I had
did.
autosave disabled. I was just manually saving. I didn't trust the autosave.
I mean,
My
to be
autosave still
fair,
says chapter
it would
2 or something.
probably be to my own benefit if the next Persona game had autosave because, dude, I would go like when I played Royal, the number of hours between my saves sometimes would be
Oh,
double
so that's really
digits.
funny. I was the
Oh,
exact same
Sam
way.
did the same
Sometimes
thing.
yeah, sometimes you just click save and you're like, oh, I haven't saved in 5.5 hours. Good
Yeah.
job I didn't get a power cut or something. That's great.
Yeah.
Um,
Granted, I'm also the guy who will manually save his game, and if I don't see the save screen finish, I run the save again. I'm like,
sometimes
I
I
need
just
to
do it
see this.
twice for fun. Sometimes I'm just like double check. You know, it's like I think it's part
Yeah.
of the OCD of me, but you know, it's like sometimes when you lock your car and you just have to
Oh yeah.
double check the door
Double
just to
tap
make
so it
sure.
beeps at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine doesn't do that, so I just check the handle. Or it's like, have I left the lights on? I'm just gonna do the quick peer into my own car like I'm trying to rob it, just to make sure my lights are off on the dash and stuff like that. Just like little things like that. You just got
Mm,
it's for good luck. You got to save twice for good luck, just in case the first one
exactly.
didn't work properly, even though there would be no reason for it to not work properly. But yeah,
But yeah, the game does have auto saving. It's auto saves between every room transition, so
damn.
it's super strict, super nice. Then also in combat, you have team attacks, which is a new thing that was put into
Ooh.
this game. Depending on depending on who's in your party. Mario always has to be in your party. Unfortunately, they didn't fix
Edge.
that,
In a
but
Mario RPG, that's cringe, bro.
hey, man,
Let him out.
sometimes you don't want Mario on your team.
It's like what it's like playing the Mario sports games and picking Mario. Who wants to do that?
I had a friend in college who would always pick Mario when we played Mario Kart, and I'm like, I don't know if I should trust you anymore.
Dude, sometimes, and I don't know if this is because in 2D Mario, my main, like I played the old NES and SNES ones, but my main kind of playing of new Soup, unfortunately. And
Mm,
because
Yeah.
those games were made where it's like Mario's the default, like that's the main play style, and then Luigi does the weird fucking floaty jump, and Toad's short and fast, right, and stuff like that.
yeah.
So I used to play as Mario so I could like learn the levels. So now when I was playing Wonder, I did spend most of the time playing Mario because in my head I'm still like Mario's the way the game's been designed. I'm like, no, everyone plays the same in Wonder, but I was still mainly playing Mario just because I've got that ingrained in my head from stupid New Super Mario Brothers logic. Um, but never in Mario Kart. Who the fuck would do that? That's like stupid, dude. That's
I don't
stupid.
trust those people.
Yeah, that's fucking weird, mate. Fucking weird. But anyway, you were saying Team Moose.
Is it
Yeah,
like the team up moves in like Chrono Trigger or something?
sort of. There's basically this gauge that what you have to fill up, and then once it's full, you just do this big super attack. It's either massive damage or if Peach is in your party, it's heals because she's the healer.
Of
Wow.
course.
It's
Either
like
heals or a shield for the party.
yeah. Yeah, Sea of Stars had a tandem attacks that were basically
Yeah,
specific damage or healing.
mm,
No,
I do
fair
remember
enough.
that.
But anything else that you can think of? Any other little changes, tweaks? I'm sure there's plenty of tweaks and changes to like little stuff to make things feel better or quality of life that you might not necessarily notice immediately. But
Yeah,
anything
game.
that stands out?
I mean, game still feels really good to play. In the options menu, you can toggle between the modern and the classic soundtracks,
I
That's
love
cool.
it when
I
they
always
let
like
which
you
is
that.
a
do that.
nice touch.
I remember
I
when
kept
Reignited did that. It's a good thing to have because
yeah.
that's the one thing people bitch about is always old one was better. I remember with NST, everyone was like old soundtrack better, and it was better. But giving people
Yeah.
the option to go, okay,
I
shut
mean,
up, you listen.
in very specific scenarios, definitely. I can think of like the remade sewer level theme.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Ugh.
Or like,
definitely.
or like the Crash 2 hub music where you're like, it just doesn't feel the same, dude. It just doesn't
Yeah,
feel the
yeah,
same. I was doing that a lot with Reignited, where I was like, "Oh, this does." Like, I play with the Reignited soundtrack. I'm like, "Oh, it doesn't feel the right." And then
the
you can just have the option. You just go in the options menu, swap it, and then there you go. Your bitching stops. It's perfect.
exactly.
It's a
Mm.
good feature. Like it. Anything else?
Um, Other than that, I'll also say this: I've already finished the video game.
Oh,
Oh, good
epic.
job.
Good job. As of recording, it's been out for 2 days.
Yeah, I think this is the first time for our first impressions where someone has finished the game for it.
Nah, this was a
No?
record set in like week 4 when I had Resident Evil 3 beaten.
Yeah,
Oh,
unlucky
oh
Kyle. You
shit. Yeah,
forgot
you're
about the
right.
Resident Evil 3 movie that came out. The 2 hour adventure for $60. That was a good time.
It was a good
Uh,
time. I
It
enjoyed
was a
it.
good time.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I love
I'm
Resi
sure it's
3.
great. If I paid $70 or $60 for it, though, I would have been pissed. I would have been. I'm not one of those people that's like. I hate people that are like, how many dollars per hour is that? I fucking hate that. I
Yeah.
hate it so much. But even I would have been like, hang on, I just paid 60 quid for 3 hours of video game.
I mean, it wanted me to replay it a bunch. I just didn't.
Mm.
Yeah, I'd be like, I
So
don't want that. I
I
want my
moved
money
on,
back.
but it
It
was a
feels
good
like when
time.
Steam refunds are 2 hours, it feels like they scratched it over just so that people couldn't refund it. Like, what the fuck, Capcom? Like, I'm sure it's
Uh,
great, but I wish they put a bit more time into it.
mm.
But oh well. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that.
Yeah. So yeah, I've already finished the game, and I wasn't trying to like blitz through it or
Mm.
anything like that. I've
It
just
just
played the
happened.
game so many times. I just know what I want, where to get it, and what I want to do. Like I
Yeah.
went out of my way to do side quests. I got the lazy shells. I went to Great Guys Casino. I did all of that stuff to get all the prizes down there. But
And I mean,
there is also a post game to this where there are some souped up bosses that you can fight. I think in one of the trailers they also showed a fight with Booster and his Sniffets, which wasn't in the original at all. So
mhm.
it's it is cool to see them add stuff into this game.
That's
And let's be
fun.
real here. When we say SNES RPG or anything like that, I feel like when people think of a RPG or a JRPG nowadays, people always assume that it's like, oh, a short JRPG will be around 30 hours or 35 hours. And it's like,
Hmm.
No, this is
Mario
like
RPG at the best of
12 or
times is
something,
like a
right?
15-hour video game, right? It's like, it's not
Yeah.
the length of a modern RPG. So the fact that you've beaten it in 2 days isn't saying that it's like it's an SNES RPG, right? It's about the length. It's about a 15, 20
Right.
hour game.
And again, I have this game pretty much committed
Like,
to
yeah,
memory
yeah,
because
exactly.
this was my childhood replay game when I needed something to do.
When we oh god, I miss replaying games just because that's all you had, dude. I miss that so much.
That's what
I feel
led to
like I
me
respected games
mastering the
more when
first
that
Devil
was.
May Cry.
Yeah.
It's just what I did the summer in between 6th and 7th grade.
Dude, games are too long to replay nowadays.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
it's a combination of that, and there's too many of them
Yeah.
now. Because like, if I had fewer games to play, like Dragon Age, it was a game that I would put 100 hours into when I played it, and I
Mm.
replayed that game like potentially a dozen times. So
It doesn't hit the same when you have the option at your fingertips to just be playing anything else that you haven't played for the first time, right? It's like
Yeah.
the amount of times I've replayed Red Dead Redemption or Assassin's Creed 2 because I used to get games for my birthday and for Christmas, and because they were both a month apart, that for majority of 10 months I had one lot of games to keep me going, and I just keep replaying the same things over and over again because they
it's
were
like how
good.
even though I have a computer that could emulate PS2 stuff now if I wanted to, it's like I still want games from the PS2 era that would like to play to be officially released because it would give me some kind of prompting to actually go and play it. Having the option at your fingertips just kind of means it'll always be there, so there's no reason to rush to it.
Yeah.
It's weird, man. It's weird, but yeah. Um, it's a decent. To be honest, I'm glad that it's like 17 hours. Dude. It means there's a higher chance of me actually playing it at some point in my life. Like
Dude,
that's the thing.
I was so glad that like this whole week I'm so glad that this game was coming cuz I'm like, okay, just slowly pushing my way to the end of Baldur's Gate. We're almost there. We're almost there. Okay, finally the fucking credits rolled. At the end of this week I have an 8-hour video game ahead of me. Can't wait. And I know it's 8 hours.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
Ugh,
So
but
yeah,
no. SMRPG is so freaking good, dude. Go check it
Mm.
out. It's such a it's just a good time. It's just a good time.
it's a feel good game, man. It's a cozy game.
Mm.
Especially because it's
One of those rare
winter. You'll
cozy
be
games that have like gameplay.
yeah. It's Christmas, you want something for Christmas. You don't want something you want something short, manageable because you get short time off, whatever, you just want to
Yeah.
sit down by the fireplace, play a video game, whatever. It's a good one. So I feel like that's Switch is really good for this kind of year when you want something short because it's like, it just feels like a good winter kind of console because you like you say you can just snuggle up under a blanket, play Switch, do whatever the fuck you
Oh
want,
yeah,
right? And I feel like this is a
The
good game
Switch is
for it.
also great for like if you're still pretending to be social at like gatherings or something because you can sit around next adjacent to people and still be doing your own thing.
Yeah.
And remember, guys, you can always do what Ethan does, where you ask for some Switch games for Christmas, and then they are still on the shelf, haven't been played for the next year. It's great. I love Bayonetta 3.
I live
I
alive.
loved Live Alive. I loved whatever the other one
Kirby.
was
Triangle
that I can't
strategy.
remember. No, I didn't get
It
that
was
one.
Kirby.
Kirby and the
Kirby.
Forgotten Land. I can't wait to play that one day. To be fair, I probably would really like Kirby. It's just,
You probably would.
I probably would. I'm on a PS3 kick at the moment, though. Maybe one day I'll get back around to the
Imagine
Switch.
being on a PS3 kick.
It's not gonna last very long, dude. It's not gonna
Man's
last
got the
very.
PS3 nostalgia.
I'm not. There's no nostalgia there. It's just like I've got like
I
a
have
hit list of
nostalgia for
Mrs.
games.
very
Gray and
specific.
Brown.
I have nostalgia for very specific PS3 games. I do not
We'll
have
talk about this
nostalgia
first.
for
We'll talk
the
about this first because it winds back into it better.
yeah.
But yeah, I've been playing Mirror's Edge again on PS3. Why PS3? I know a lot of people were saying it's because I started the game on PS3. That's the first place. Actually, that's a lie. I first played it on PC. I'm not gonna. I won't lie. But I then
PC
started playing it
gamer.
on PS3 because I was like, you know what sounds better? Mirror's Edge, but an inferior version of Mirror's Edge. That sounds sick. I'll fucking do that, mate. So I did that,
Yeah, but like PC smells, so
and then I played
Yeah.
like 2 chapters of it, and then I fucked it off, and then just never played it again. And then I played it. I can't remember if it was this year or last year on Xbox, because they did like a better port of it. And then this past week, I was like, I need a game that's not too long, because I was still tempted to play Persona 5 Tactica before I realized that I had no time this weekend. So I was like, I was still planning on playing it. So I was like, I need something short. I'm like, I'll play Mirror's Edge because that's like a 10-hour game. If that, it's not really. It's like a 6-hour game, really. So I was like, it's a 6-hour game. I'll play it, and I played it, and I really liked it. So I just started doing the time trials and stuff like that, and then before you know it, I now have the platinum in Mirror's Edge, which is fun. Which is apparently an achievement because I was like looking at it, and it's like apparently it's a very difficult platinum. I'm like, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad, guys. It wasn't that bad. It's actually pretty decent, and it's quite fun. But man, it's such a good game. I love Mirror's Edge. It's like it's one of those games where it's like, man, if anything deserved like a second game, and I don't mean Catalyst, I mean like a second game.
Like a second game with
Who
a
goes,
real chance.
let's make a game, let's make another Mirror's Edge, and let's make it open world, and let's just tell the story from the first one again. Like, why did they do that? At least make it a sequel. At least give it a chance. Like, fuck it. Like, I will never understand Catalyst. I'll never understand it. There's a part of me that wants to go back and play it again after playing this, just because I want to understand what they were potentially thinking. But man, if there was ever a game that is just like, they should have just made another one of these. Like they didn't need to go open world. They need to just make another one of those. Like that would be sick. I would love another Mirror's Edge. It's so good.
Yeah, Mirror's Edge always looked really cool. I don't think I've ever had a console to play it on though, so
No.
I just I
There's PS3.
it's just like
You can
Metal
play it
Gear
on
Rising,
Xbox
you
with
know?
battle. Yeah, you can play it on Xbox with backwards compat, and it's on PC. And the PC version runs on anything basically. It's a pretty good PC port, to be honest. I was playing it on my 2013 laptop, all right. Like it's. I probably could have easily played it on this PC, pretty on max settings, at stupid frame rates probably. But I didn't. I played it on PS3 because Ethan's stupid trophy addiction must continue, as as I was ticking boxes off of my PS3 games that I never properly finished. So it's another one down, which is fun. But there's a couple of
did you
PS3.
finish your Lego games?
I did finish both of them, and they were miserable
job.
experiences, and I hated the entire fucking.
Good job.
experience.
I'm proud of you.
That's it now for Lego games on my PlayStation profile. I think I've done all
You
of
never
them.
has to play another one.
Never have to play another one. Lego Batman 3 had a load of DLC, and I saw it was on sale for like £1 today, and I was like, do I hate myself that much to re-download an old one and get them? I'm like, I don't think I do. But no, there's a couple of games on PS3 I still want to go back and have a crack at. I've never fully beaten Infamous 1, and I've never played Infamous 2, and I feel like I'd like to play those at some point, because I really like Second Son.
Really?
I'd never fully beaten either of the first two either, actually. I only kind of played around in both of them. Second Son was the first one I properly played with.
I think it's because it came out at the right time, because it was PS4 launch. There wasn't too much out.
PS4, nothing was out yet.
It interested me enough. Yeah, it was a good time for that game to come out. So I'd like to try those two. Saints Row 3. I started a save on my account like 6 years ago, and I never properly actually went and 100%ed it. Like I've 100%ed Saints Row 4 on PS3 and 4 on that account. But it's like I've never done it for 3, so I want to do stuff. There's like little stuff like that. I just kind of want to dabble with PS3 stuff while we can. But that's the problem about that is it means that I'm still putting off Jedi Survivor this entire time, which is like, I feel like I need to play that game before the end of the year.
Star Wars this year is like the Ethan's equivalent of the men will literally do X before going to therapy meme.
Ethan would rather go to therapy than play Jedi Survivor. That's the rate that I'm at. And I want to play it before the end of the year. I really do. I'd preferably I will play it by the end of the year. But
I like how you and I's year-end games for get it done before award talk are in two different places. Where you've got Star Wars, and I'm like, gotta play Baldur's Gate.
Yeah. But I know that's the thing is, it's like that. That's
Don't worry,
terrible.
dude, I've got Spider-Man on my list.
Yeah, but Spider-Man was quick.
Ah, cool.
Star Wars isn't that long either.
No, I beat that in like 4 days.
Yeah, I could beat it pretty quickly. And here's the thing is, I don't hate the original Star Wars. And I'm sure that I play Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and I probably would think it's better than the original, and I probably think it'd be a pretty damn good video game, but I've just held off on it for that long.
I don't know. It's at this point, it's just funnier to not play it.
It is, but it's also like, it's one of those things where I get a week off between Christmas and New Year.
Yeah.
And I really don't want to play Star Wars on that, that break. I really want to
I get that.
That's like that week is like, last year it was The Witcher. This year I was like, maybe it'll be Cyberpunk this year, so I can finally play that game, get that off ticked off. I'm like, Star Wars doesn't fit that. Star Wars doesn't fit that.
Next year it'll be The Witcher 2, unless CD Projekt Red makes a new game.
Yeah. I don't want to do it. I'm good. But you know, it's like I've got a couple of larger games which I could play, and I don't think Star Wars classifies as a larger game. But I've been playing these PS3 games.
I mean, maybe if you try to do everything in it, but
Oh, I'll
you
platinum
know,
it. I'll platinum Star Wars Jedi
oh,
Survivor.
I was gonna say because there
I'm
was
a
a bunch of
freak. I'm a
extra stuff.
weirdo. I'm a little.
Yeah, he has a problem,
What's he
I
Hunter.
have a
doing here?
problem. One day
But
I'll get over it.
like
I
there was
remember
a
when I
whole
hit
lot of extra things in Jedi Survivor that I just neglected to do because I wasn't about to manage Cal's rooftop garden.
Oh, that sounds great. You just put it off another week. I'm gonna go play Saints Row 3. But no, yeah, I'll get around to it. I will. It's just it's a weird one. I'm sure I'm just in a PS3 mood, which is weird because I'm not really ever in a PS3 mood. So I'm like, I should probably
Few
play at
people
least
are.
one more game. I've got 3 PS3 games sorted. While my stupid addiction carries on, I need help. I need help on the PlayStation trophy fiasco, dude. To be honest, because I need to learn to let go, but I never will. I remember when I got the Xbox. Remember when I was like, "Oh, just play stuff on Xbox, then I don't have to worry about it." And I played the entirety of The Witcher 3 on Xbox. I was like, "This is great." And then I checked my achievement list at the end of it, and I had like 70% of the achievements, and I was like, you know, if I'd only played this on PS5, then I would have been able to I would have probably gone for the platinum. And I'm like, this is a problem. I need to stop. Because now in my head, I'm gonna play that game on PlayStation again at some point. And I'm like, this is stupid. I need to.
Perhaps it's a mercy that things like Starfield and the next Elder Scrolls game are only going to be on Xbox.
It is. It's a mercy killing, dude. Like, it genuinely is.
Ethan, you just need to keep like a rubber band around your wrist and just snap it every time you think about getting a plat trophy.
You see, here's the thing: is it's not like I'm doing it for. It's not like I'm doing it because I'm like, oh, you know, I'm enjoying this game so much. I want to get the plat. That sounds like fun. Sign me up, Buckaroo. It is genuinely like I will sit there and I'll have games on my PlayStation. I'll go. I'm not thinking about do I want to play this game. It's yeah, but do I want to plat it? Or do I like, oh, the trophies look like ass? And it's like, I can't have like I can't, what if I don't like it? I can't have a 2% trophy list on my thing. And I'm like, this is a problem. No one cares bar me. Why do I care so much? It's
Yeah.
stupid. It's
Yeah.
like,
Like,
I
I'm
played
not gonna look
Yakuza.
at your trophy list and be like, oh man, he only got 2% in fucking Ghost of Tsushima or
But I look at
whatever.
my trophy list. Sometimes I just sit there and I stare at it.
I mean, sometimes I like to look at the list like of games just to see like it's fun to recap what you were doing, be like, oh, back in oh yeah, I was doing this back then. I played this after I played that kind of
But no,
thing.
and then I'll look at the bottom of my trophy list where at the start of this account where I was just playing a load of random shit and I had like 1%. I have like 6 games that are all 1% or something. And I'm like, God, Ethan, why'd you fucking do that? Now that looks stupid on your. As if it's like a grading system, and I'm on like on your personal right. It's like a credit score, and it's like, oh, look at that rough history that you had there, Ethan. You fucking dumbass. And there's a
Oh
small
yes,
part of
for
me
the
that's like,
beginning of
you
this
know,
account, Ethan was in a coma.
yeah, it's like, you know, I can't get it's impossible to get that platinum now because there's multiplayer trophies and the servers are offline. And there's a small sick twisted part of me that's like, yes, but I could go in 100% the single player and get 60%, and that looks better than 1%, baby. And it's like, you're such a freak. Stop it. You have a problem.
What percentage is like so you clearly don't platinum every game you get. What percentage is
Hunter, you should check
acceptable?
my profile. You should look at how my recent profile. This year, I have genuinely like every new game I've platinum.
Oh my god. But
But yes, go
sure,
carry on with your hypothesis.
surely there are percentages that you settle for when you don't get the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm usually okay with anything above 50%,
Cool.
which is interesting. But even then, I'm still a bit like, oh, you know, you could have done better, Ethan, like a 74 or something like that. And then when you get to around 70, you're like, oh, you know, how hard would it be to just, you know, just get the rest of them? Because you only got 30% left at that point. You might as well just, you know. There's still a sick and twisted
It'll
part of me
never
Hunter, that
not
looks at
tickle
Avengers and
me.
go, you got 50%
No.
in Avengers.
No. Don't do it.
Do you want
You
to?
can't anymore, can you?
You can. They're all offline. but it'd be like a 60-hour grind, and there's still a small part of me that's like,
Wait, why do you have
Would
that many
you?
trophies in Avengers? What'd you play Avengers for?
I don't want to talk about it.
Didn't you play the demo and decide that it was bad?
Yeah, and then my friend made me buy a copy because he wanted to play it with somebody for £5, and then we found out the single player was.
You know what I
can't
would
play
do?
the
I would tell
co-op
my
for
friend
the
to pick a
single
better
player.
game.
Yeah, I did say that, but he said we were going to play it together, and I was like, oh, I like Friends, and then it turned out that the single player was solely single player, and then we never played the DLC that was co-op, and that was my Marvel's Avengers experience. It was a great time.
Classic. But every time you
Yeah.
bring up the whole trophy thing, it always tickles me because it's the reverse mentality where there are some trophy lists that I have that are literally missing the platinum and whatever the thing I need to do before the platinum.
Yeah, and that
Yeah.
pisses me off. That pisses me off.
Like,
There's a part of
I
me
am
that wants to
missing-
become like a
I am
hacker and guess your
missing-
password and sign in and get that fucking trophy for you, and then like sign out. Like,
I am missing a
God.
single
Platinum Fairy.
trophy from Signalis, for example. There were like
Yeah.
13, including the plat. I have 11. That pissed me missing. I'm missing the Seasides trophy in Celeste. There's the one for Persona 5.
That pisses me off so much, dude.
It's the lotto numbers.
Yeah, he just had to buy a lottery ticket at some point in the game, and he'd have the platinum, and he hasn't done it. And it pisses me off.
Oh my God, Hunter!
I just never
not
did
even
that.
hard.
Oh,
Not
that's
even
awesome.
hard. But it do, like, I honestly think it's not a healthy thing because it genuinely does put me off playing video games, like 100%. And
Oh,
it's
yeah,
like
absolutely.
and I know it doesn't. I know in my head it's not healthy, but it's just one of those things that I've just like obviously hyper fixated on this trope. I'm like,
Yeah.
ooh, number go up, number make me feel good. I like getting 100%. It makes me feel like I've accomplished something with this game. And now I'm sitting here with 184 platinum trophies.
Hunter, how many do you have?
10.
I
184.
have 7.
Back in the day, me and my cousin Jake used to be like, oh, we used to have similar levels. And it's like, oh, how many platinums do you have? And I'm like, oh, I have 30. And he'd be like, oh, I have 32. I'm like, oh, that's sick. And now it's at a point where he's like at like 50 and I'm at 180. What the fuck happened?
That means you won, Ethan.
Yes, but I don't feel like I
But
won.
at what
Metal
cost?
2. The 2 Horizon games, Bloodborne.
Yeah, Hunter's counting. He counted on one hand, mate. I'm that sad. At one point, I had an Excel spreadsheet.
I'm like forgetting one because I'm pretty sure I do have 10, but like there was Devil May Cry, Transistor, Dragon Age Inquisition, Crash Bandicoot 2,
Respect. Good
both
choice.
the Horizon games, Bloodborne, Twisted Metal 2, and there's like this 10th one that's escaping my brain. I don't know what it was.
Want to know what mine are?
Sure, since we're sharing.
Kingdom Hearts 2, Crash 2 NST, Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle, Scarlet Nexus, Guilty Gear Strive, Dead or Alive 6, and Fall Guys.
And to put this into perspective for everybody that's wanting, this year, out of the 36 games that I've played on my PlayStation account this year, I have platinumed 32 of them. It is quicker for me to, I'd say, the games that I didn't platinum. Those are Yakuza, Kiwami 2. Let me scroll up a bit because then there was a whole thing. Hitman 3, but I do plan on it eventually. And then Mirror's Edge Catalyst, and that's because there was they announced that the servers were going offline for Catalyst at the end of this year, and there was 2 online trophies that I didn't have, so I thought I'd get those 2 online trophies now in case I ever wanted to platinum it in the future. I have a problem.
Man's trying to future-proof his catalog.
Dude, because there's some on PS3 that I've got impossible trophies now, and I sit there and I go,
Yep.
you failure. Look what you've done. They
Oh
will
my
never
God.
be platinums. You'll never have 100% on your scorecard. I have a problem, like genuinely, and I know it's bad, and it genuinely ruins games for me. It does. The amount of games that I was like, oh, this was fine when I rolled credits, and then I do 20 hours of post game and I hate it. And it's
Kyle's
like,
opinion of Scarlet Nexus is very much a before and after picture of
oh, if
obtaining the
I'd done
platinum.
Yeah.
one playthrough of Scarlet Nexus, I would have thought
Great
it was a
game.
pretty good game. Yeah.
It's a great one playthrough video game. That is the only game I've platinumed where my opinion has actually gotten worse on the video game because of it.
Dude, that happens all the
Everything else,
time for
though,
me.
I still love those games.
Dude, it happens all the time for me. And I just, do I have a problem? Yeah.
Yeah,
Will I
yeah.
ever fix it? I
No,
don't know. Because I thought at
the
100
Xbox
platinums,
was supposed to fix it.
I said at 100 platinums, that's it. After 100 platinums, I don't care about trophy percentages anymore. And then at 150 platinums, I was like, that's it. Don't care about it anymore. And now in my head, I'm like, at 200, maybe I'll stop caring. And it's like,
Like,
I just need help, bro. I can't do it. I don't. Life would just be so much easier. Life would just be so much easier if I don't care. But I was like, I don't want to, Yakuza 3. I was like, I'm never going to platinum Yakuza 3 in my life. So I played it on Xbox. And I'm like, that's not because I was like, that's the best place to play it. That's because I was like, Ethan, you don't want that on your list. Go and play it on a fucking different console. And that's stupid. I said, actually, fuck it. It's clown shit, dude. Like, put the red nose on me, dude. Put the makeup on. I'm a fucking clown. It's
Wig.
stupid. I hate it.
Yeah.
well, I just remember when you started your Resident Evil 4 remake platinum hunt,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
you're
yeah,
just
that one.
like, I'm like, you could be playing Resident Evil 2 remake right now, and you're like, I don't want to replay. I don't want to play another game in a franchise that I've already played this year.
Yeah.
That was kind of your reasoning for why you weren't playing Resi 2. I'm like, so you'll go through Resi 4 5 more times.
Yeah, I played six
Right.
playthroughs
It
of
was
Resident Evil 4
Valkyria
this year.
Chronicles was the 10th one.
There you go.
Ah,
I've played through. Also, it's not necessarily true. I have played multiple games in the franchise this year. I just wasn't feeling another Resident Evil because I'm
yeah.
too scared. I'm like, I need to space those out. Um, Final Fantasy 16 is another one that I would have had a
God,
much
I don't
nicer
know why you
opinion
did
without
that.
platinuming it.
Because that's
Gotham
another 2
Knights.
playthroughs of a game right there.
I platinumed Assassin's Creed Valhalla this year. That's how
Yes, you
fucking
did.
sad and desperate
You played
I was.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Dude, I did play Assassin's Creed Valhalla this year.
That's the end of the statements to put the perspective into how
And
sad
here's the
it
thing,
is.
right? It's
And then he
like,
played Mirage.
don't get me wrong. I love going for platinum trophies when it's a game that I like. And it's like, oh, this is, like Sackboy. I played Sackboy earlier this year. And that was quite a challenging platformer. It had some fun stuff to it. And because I like platformers, I like platinum in platformers. They're just fun. Mirror's Edge was the same way, where it's like,
Yeah.
that's the kind of gameplay loop I like. I would go, even if I wasn't a stupid idiot that was doing all this shit with trophies, I probably would have gone for Mirror's Edge naturally anyway, because I just kind of vibe with those kinds of games. But no, I 100% admit that it's stupid. But it's like, yeah, other than Hitman and bringing Mirror's Edge up, the only game that I didn't get more than 50% in, or like the last one that I didn't get over 50% in was Royal, which I didn't ever finish that PS5 playthrough. We'll get to that eventually. And then before that, Marvel's Avengers, which was 50%, which was last got a trophy in July 2022. I have not got less than 50% of trophies in a video game since a year and a half ago.
Jeez.
That's stupid, man. And before that, you don't even want to know. Before that, it was Hades in August 2021. I have a problem. If anybody has any tips and tricks to stop an addiction, please send them in.
Is there a way to just disable trophies on PlayStation?
No.
Damn.
Let's try hypnosis.
Maybe if I get a life, maybe I'll stop caring. Just take up another hobby. Maybe learn to crochet or something. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah.
Crochet, that'd be rad. Make yourself a little scarf.
Yeah, my mum's big
a
into
hat.
like craft stuff, so maybe I'll ask her. I'll be like, hey, what can I crochet? What can I
Knit
crochet? She
yourself
made my
some
little sack
mittens.
boy. You can't see it here because it's pitch black, but the little sack boy that I have on my shelves sometimes that you can see. My mum made that. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah. Anyway, that's enough about me and my stupid trophy addiction that was supposed to originally just be, hey, I play Mirror's Edge. Hunter, you've been playing some indie games, and unlike me, you've not been stupid. You're playing them for fun, fucking weirdo. How's
Yeah.
that been?
Imagine enjoying the video games.
Imagine playing games for fun, dude. That'd be crazy. I play them to review them. I play them to plat them. I play them to hate them. That's my trifecta, dude.
He hosts a gaming podcast.
Well,
We review,
hate
we
video
plat, we hate.
games.
The HGO experience, dude. There you go. Perfect.
Is that the
review platinum
Is that the
hate.
motto of this year?
Yeah, the
What?
motto of season 4
Review,
instead
plat,
of free
hate.
and competent.
Lovely. Anyway, what have you been playing, Hunter?
Well, I guess we'll start with the most recent one here. This week, a game called The Last Faith came out.
Funny
And
you say
this-
The Last of Us Part 2 remastered. Like, oh, yeah.
Uh,
My favorite.
Yeah, dude.
mercifully, that's not out yet. It only got announced or leaked or whatever.
One more time. Yeah. I love Last of Us so much.
So God, now I'm goofed. The Last Faith is it's a Metroidvania game with
Mhm.
very much the little tagline that they used on socials was the little back of the box thing is Gothic Souls-like Metroidvania game. So like taking equal inspiration from like Bloodborne as they are Castlevania.
Bloodborne's a good game.
It is a good game. Like PlayStation refuses to remaster that, so this has a
Don't
bunch
worry
of
though,
spiky
Hunter.
buildings.
Look
tickles
forward
the
to
itch.
look forward
Next
to
time
December.
for sure.
Look forward to December next year when you can look forward to the release of The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2 double pack coming to stores near you. It'll be great.
With a coupon for 10% off in their multiplayer game that's never coming out.
Oh, can't wait for that one, dude. Anyway, how you finding The Last Faith then?
Oh, I've been enjoying it so far. Like, it's just it's one of those ones where it's been pretty easy to just kind of pick the path that I'm going down and, see it to its full extension before it'd be like, oh, okay, now I don't have a way forward, or I find a boss or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. I think the main thing that this game's got on most games, in this genre, like Metroidvanias are funny because like combat is a natural part of it, but like the actual depth of the combat in most of them isn't very deep. It's like
Yeah.
Hollow Knight, for example, you just kind of
Couple
got
of
the one
buttons.
you just
Yeah.
got the one swing and then a special move. This one, like you get different weapons that do different combos and stuff. Like there's the illusion of choice with like choosing your it asks you to choose a class at the beginning, but really what that is it's more akin to say the backgrounds in like Bloodborne or
Yeah, the
Elden Ring
starting
where
stats, stuff like that.
yeah, it chooses your stats. That's basically what this is and I think maybe it influences the weapon you start with because I picked the rogue class or whatever it would have been called,
I'm shocked.
and it gave me the sword that goes up with the dexterity, and like later I found an axe that scales to the strength and whatnot. So I think that's basically it. Just kind of chooses how you start, and then from there you can adjust as you see fit. But yeah, you get a bunch of different weapons that have different combos. Like the sword has a nice, quick, very get it out before a monster can blink kind of 4-hit combo, and the axe has a heavier 3-hit one that does more damage per hit. But depending on what you've done, still maybe not as efficient and all of that. On top of that, you get like the sub weapons. Like you get a gun is one of them. The classic there. There was a cool
guns,
like there was a the second one I got was this cool lightning thing where you just basically with the Darth Sidious lightning to people. It was nice. And there's been a few other ones that I've been toying around with so far, but it's good at the kind of like naturally like getting an upgrade will not only will it place you next to where you can get it, but like it naturally has a spot to go and use it to tickle your fancy to, be like, oh, right, one of these I can go over here. Like before I turned the game off, I met this lady who gave me this like these special gloves that let me, or no, it was a gravity ring. It lets me push these blocks that were getting in my way. So on top of, being able to push a shortcut out of the way to get out of that particular like zone, I then remembered I went back to the little base mansion that it's like the equivalent of in Bloodborne, that chapel that you go back to with the one guy, and where you'd be sending the like Ariane and the nun. Um, uh, so there's a mansion where you can go back and talk to the other NPCs, and where you go back to level up and all that. And like talking to this lady, like one screen over is another block that you could push to like go off down this other side path and all of that. So it's very good at like it's got the right idea on how to place the things in its world to naturally get your interest going and all of that. And
No,
then,
fair enough. Sounds like fun.
atmospherically and all of that. Visually, I think it's a really solid pixel art game as far as the style and all that. Characters look real cool design wise. The backgrounds are amazing. Like, oh man, like, like they're either like the backgrounds are either like actually like drawn in and stuff, or still just really well rendered pixel art. I'm not really sure, but
Mm-hmm.
it's the gothic thing in the that art style is
Look at it.
really
He's
well
so
done.
unprofessional, guys. Look at this. Tell you what,
It's
getting out
really
into
well
the
done.
podcast. Getting out into the
I
podcast, and
think
he's like,
I think it looks really good. I'm enjoying it a lot. The music is nice too. Definitely been a few parts where I've stopped and been like, ah, yes, this sounds great. And then a couple of boss battle I've done. I was mildly shocked when it's like, ah, this is a taking inspiration from the Souls games and all that. I managed to kill the first boss on my first try,
Nice.
so I was like,
Nice.
oh, it didn't kill me. That's cool. I
Okay.
figured either it was going to be a scenario where it makes that happen, or I would just lose. But I killed it first, so look at me go.
Good job.
The other one of the other bosses later killed me though, but it still didn't take that many tries. I was like, ah, I learned. He only got me because he surprised me with a phase 2.
Oh.
Yeah, I was like, oh no, and
That
then
was
I
like my
learned his.
main issue with Lies of P earlier this year. Was that game had like how in like Bloodborne or Dark Souls or whatever you have like Elden Ring, there was like 2 maybe 3 bosses max in the entire game that had a second phase to them. It was like it was like it was like the final boss was a 2-phaser. You had Melania was a 2-phase. It was like 1 or 2 or 3 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Lies of P had this thing where it was like every second boss had a second phase to it, and you're like, stop it, that's too many bosses. It's like
Yeah,
halfway
yeah,
through the game and 6 bosses had a second phase. I'm like, ah.
yeah. Like I guess the only thing that's mildly alarming is this was pretty early, and a boss is
Which
already
means there'll
hitting
be
you with the
definitely
second
be more
phase.
coming up.
So
Yeah.
there's gonna be more potentially. I wouldn't be shocked if they were like, oh, ha ha. What if we had a third phase?
No.
But this one specifically in this instance didn't really hurt my feelings. 'Cause I beat it. I still beat it within a couple of tries. I'm like, oh, you know what? I've learned your pattern now. Now you're toast. Because it wasn't that hard. But I've been liking it quite a bit. I was mildly surprised when there was voice acting, but it's all pretty well done for what it is. So that's
No,
cool.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing more of this.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
What's that?
so
What else have you been playing? Because there's a couple. So.
yeah. There's I guess next on the list I'll go with Viewfinder. I played that one last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
That was the puzzle game that came out earlier this year about like the pictures,
The photographs, right? Yeah.
the photographs and all of that. Where you take the pictures, line them up, and then suddenly the pictures overlap reality, and you solve puzzles that way. And
It's on my PlayStation wish list. I'm going to play this at some point. I thought it was a very
God,
interesting game.
the best part is it works as well as you think it does.
Oh,
As
good.
far as like when you see it in the trailer and you're like, oh, that's actually really cool. It feels as intuitive. It's great. Like I was doing it myself. I'm like, I am so happy this is not a dud.
Good. I'm glad. But no, so they for those of you, it's basically it's a puzzle-ish kind of game where it's like you've got a camera, you can take photos of stuff, you can overlap those photos onto reality, and it basically becomes the new reality. It's a very weird kind of. It's one of those trippy games. It reminds me a lot of. Can't remember what the other game was, but there was another game that wasn't as well reviewed, but it had a similar kind of gameplay mechanic where it was like if you moved stuff in the world, and it was like if you
Is
had like
that
a ball.
maquette?
No, I don't think it was, but it was like say you have like a sphere or something,
Yeah,
and you bring it closer to the camera because it's now huge. If you then step away from it, it's now huge. It was like there was another
yeah,
one where it was like forced perspective stuff, kind of changing things, and I was like, "That game looks sick." And then the reviews came out, and everyone was like, it was kind of shallow, really, with what it did. I was like, "Oh, that's a shame." Whereas this one seems to have lived up to the kind of
yeah.
hype
This
that
one, they
I was
managed to
feeling for
keep
it.
the mechanics fresh for like it's not a very long game,
Hmm.
but in all of that, they managed to fit a lot of different variation in the mechanics. Like, oh man, suddenly a lot of those are escaping me.
Superliminal,
But
that's what it was called.
oh, superliminal. I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, I figured it was either going to be after after the maquette guess, it would have either been that or Manifold Garden, but I didn't properly know which was which.
Yeah, it's superliminal.
But like they managed to keep things fresh with the mechanics in a way where it's like um there was one room where rather than pictures, it was like just the perspective of objects where lining things up like you would be walking towards a staircase or something, or you'd be walking towards a corner in a room and the shadows would hit the room in a way that like makes a staircase when you look at it right, and then it would become a staircase, right? So but you'd have to
Yeah, yeah.
actually like line it up to do it right, and there was a whole like maze where you had to make the puzzle with the perspective that way, and that
Here,
was
yeah.
cool.
No,
Or
that's cool.
eventually, I guess mild spoilers for the mechanics in the late game, there was a really cool where they made it work where you take a picture of yourself, right? And then you cast the photo, like if you need to get past like a gate or something or a
Yeah,
wall.
yeah.
Yeah, so you just cast yourself beyond the bars of like the gate. And
That's cool.
that
I
was
like it.
really cool. And there were a few other ones where you like there was one with different like filtered doors and stuff, but I'm like forgetting the specifics of it. But the point is, they had a bunch of mechanics packed into the game that made it real fresh. You weren't just lining up pictures with stuff,
Yeah, yeah.
so it didn't overstay its welcome in any way. Like I think it was probably the perfect length for the amount of ideas that they had.
Cool.
And then the last one I've been playing, and this is just yesterday before I left for my concert, and then a little bit earlier today, my brother picked up this game called Paint the Town Red.
Oh, that sounds like a
You
classic.
guys should look this one up because
Oh, for
the
God's sake.
visuals go the visuals go with the silliness I'm about to explain. Basically, it's a game like gameplay structurally, it's essentially similar to Hotline Miami, except it's in first person, where the goal is you're in a
Oh God, it
room.
looks like fucking Minecraft character, like Roblox looking fuckers, dude.
Yeah, they're just square people, right? Like
Yeah,
I was shown, I'm like, this is just making me think of Komeiji from Somnium Files.
it is. Yeah, if you've played Somnium Files, it is
And
just.
then,
Dude, apparently there's a VR version of this
Oh,
too.
thank
oh my
God for that.
god, finally a reason to consider
To get
VR.
VR.
But yeah, this
Just
game
five
is
hundred
essentially
dollars.
structurally it's like Hotline Miami, where it's like you're in a room and the goal is to kill people and find the proper sequence of like there's a good weapon, like there's a machete over in the stall of this disco club in the bathroom, right? So that's a good weapon. Go kill some people. Use it to kill a guy with a better weapon to take and all of that. And it's just a fun and silly time because like the physics work in a way that because it's just little Andy's Komeiji people and goofy down-res graphics, the physics that you do and just the fact that you can hack off a piece of their face it works very comedically. It brought me a lot of joy to just kick a dude into a shark infested waters, for
Fair enough.
example.
Yeah, I'm just
And
watching
all
the
of that.
trailer now. This looks really like
It's
a
like one of
video
those
game.
It's one of those games that I'm like mildly surprised it didn't have like one of those week-long viralities to it because it looks like one
Yeah.
of those things that you'd see like, oh, this game looks dumb and silly. Everyone, let's play it for this week,
I
kind
mean,
of
to be
thing.
fair, it's got like 22,000 reviews on Steam. I think
Does
this
it?
game did all right. Yeah, it
Oh
Yeah.
has
man,
22k reviews. This game did good.
I mean,
they
this
had a
definitely looks like a game that knows what it wanted to do.
yeah, and that's the thing is like it does everything just well enough for it to be good and not like lazy or bad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because almost all of the objects have like physics to them and whatnot where you can like just smack you could like be smacking people with the steaks on their dinner plates and all of that. You can
nice.
smack people with the dinner plates. It's great, all of that. There's attention to detail in their very blocky world here where you can smack the faucets on the bars and it'll like spurt water and all that. It's hilarious. There's
Nice.
modifiers and stuff that I only got to play with one. My brother was telling me about a bunch of them, but the one I did play turns the game into super hot.
Oh dear.
Like straight up, that's what they call it is super hot mode,
Oh my god.
Oh
where
gosh.
they only move when you move and all of that. And I'm like, oh, this is fun. That's cool.
Nice. Nice.
But yeah, I just wanted to shout that out because for the collective couple of hours that I've played it now, it's brought me immense amounts of joy.
No, that's good. So there you go. That's 3 indie recommendations from Hunter.
All of which
There you
I'm
go.
pretty sure are actually indie games, so thumbs up.
Damn.
I don't know. I actually don't know the validity of this Paint the Town Red one. I don't know its developer or anything
No, it
like
is.
that.
From the looks of it, it definitely is. It's
Yeah.
self-published as well.
Yeah.
But no, that's pretty cool. And with that, we're basically done. We're gonna wrap it up here, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm tired as hell, and we've talked about a lot this week. So yeah, next week, who knows what we'll talk about? We'll find out then, I guess. And then we'll get into Game Awards double bill. That'll be fun.
Oh boy.
I'm so looking forward to Game Awards this year.
Finally
It's
time for that.
finally time for that. I think I will have a great time this year because I don't have to go to work the next day. That's the one thing that I'm looking forward to. Is
Dude, it's a good feeling knowing you
Yeah.
don't have to go to work the next day.
yeah,
You see,
As Jeff Keighley wastes all of our time for 3
You know,
hours.
it's funny because I have like the reverse thing where it's like I don't feel like using a day off is worth it for Keely's thing.
yeah. But Hunter, for you,
Eh.
that's fine. For me, it finishes at 4 a.m. every time, and I have to go
Yeah,
into
with
work
you
with
it
2
makes
hours
sense.
sleep.
I
Yeah.
understand why you wouldn't want to.
This
but-
doesn't impact your sleep schedule, Hunter.
And I have for the past 2 years gone in the next day and regretted it. Whereas this time I'm like, no, I'll just take the day. It's fine. I'll live. It's good. I'll play
Your
Star
work will
Wars.
survive one day without you.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
It won't randomly explode.
I can't confirm or deny that. But yeah, we'll see what happens anyway. But with that, I guess that has been our show, everybody. I'll put our links on screen on right now, real quick. There they are. You can go and follow us on Twitter if you want to keep up to date with everything we do outside the podcast and all that jazz. I'm never gonna stop calling it Twitter. I'm never stopping calling it
Never
Twitter.
give him what he wants.
You can't make me. I believe that Elon Musk is that incompetent that it will one day become Twitter yet again. So,
You could argue that it's never really not been Twitter yet.
no, it's 100% still Twitter. But I think there will be a day where it goes back to just everyone. Okay, it was funny meme. Back to Twitter we go. Like, I think there's no brand recognition. X, fuck X. Anyway, go follow us on Twitter. Anyway, that's it. We're done. I'm tired. Thanks very much for listening and watching this week. We'll be back next week to talk about whatever the fuck we're talking about next week. It'll be a good time, I promise you. But
Or
until
if
then,
it's in the calendar.
well, I know we're talking. We'll probably be talking about actual indie games from this year that weren't Dave the Diver from that controversy. So if you look forward, if you like indie games and you like Hunter
If you like
talking a lot
debating the
about indie games,
philosophy of indie games.
yeah, then come show up next week. It'll be a lot of fun. But anyway, until then, have an awesome week, and yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.
See ya.
Toodaloo.